she had it. So what happened was so we actually have two dogs. They're a year apart in age, and their vaccinations are done at different times just because we got them at different times. And so what happened was hey Chloe, come on. Our vet only scheduled for one of our dogs to get vaccinated, like their yearly vaccinations, their Lyme, their heartworm, like all of that stuff. And they forgot to schedule Chloe. And because they're the ones who schedule the vet appointments, we didn't realize that she didn't have her vaccination. So one dog got vaccinated and the other didn't. And we live in an area where we have, we're backed up to woods. So we think that somehow she just got a tick on her, which is really common around here. There's always deer in our backyard, so.
Right. And so did you ever find a tick on the dog or on Chloe, or did she just start not feeling well?
No, so actually, so we don't like exactly know like when around it happened, because like there was a point last summer when like I had to take her to the emergency vet because she like had a fever and she was really lethargic and she wasn't feeling right, and like the vet couldn't figure out what was wrong. They did a bunch of basic blood work on our dog, couldn't figure it out. And then when it came time to take Milo to his vaccination, we talked to the vet and we were like, oh, doesn't Chloe need to get hers updated too? And they had told us that they never did one for Chloe. So they told us to bring her with him. And when he went to go get vaccinated, they check them before they give him the vaccine to make sure they don't have it. They do blood work. It came back that hers was positive. So that's how we found out, was through the blood work at the vet.
And following that, what was the treatment for Chloe once you knew she had Lyme disease?
So she was on, what medication was it? She was on doxycycline. Wasn't it like 3 times a day?
It was like twice a day for a total of.
It was like 3
weeks or something like that.
Yeah, I don't quite remember. I think it was like, it was the doxycycline, like, yeah, three times a day for 6 weeks. She was on medication.
Wow. And is she feeling better now?
Oh yeah, she's fine now. She's still, just hanging around, running outside, playing like a dog. But yeah, no, she was definitely under the weather for quite some time during the summer. We just couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And then once we, found out that it was Lyme disease, we treated her and she's been fine since.
And where are you guys located? Where are you living now?
Rochester, New York. So we live in Brighton, and it's called Ellison Park. And Ellison Park is it's like the woodsy area that's in our backyard.
Oh, wow. It's interesting to hear that the dog had really similar symptoms to what a person who has Lyme disease or has contracted Lyme disease can have.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. And especially because, the vet is supposed to keep track of like all their vaccinations and, when things are due. And it was just crazy to know that like they must have just mixed up the appointments, or I don't know, but she just somehow never got it and one dog did. So.
And to other pet owners, do you have any tips now that you've had that experience with your dog on what they might do to prevent that?
Yes. If you back up to woods, or if you know that you take your dogs to parks or like anything, just anything where there are like deer or other like animals, make sure they're vaccinated. Check with the vet, even call, like even after having like what happened with Chloe. And I know it sounds so basic, but you rely so much on the vet to, send you little reminder cards and like be the ones to schedule the appointments. But like even now, I just call them. I'm like, hey, like are all of their shots, all of their vaccines up to date? Just like everything, because you just never know, because the one little slip up and she had Lyme disease. So just really making sure, that their vaccinations don't like overlap. Maybe like, oh, maybe her vaccine is up in September, but don't wait until, October to get it. Like make sure there's like that window where you need to like go in and get the vaccine. Like just keeping up with the vaccines, making sure that if they're in an area where they're like deer, you're checking like in between. So like in between their paws is like a really common area to find ticks. You can find them like on the back of their ears. So like I constantly do tick checks. I pull back their ears, I look inside their paws, I look on their stomachs, their backs, just about anywhere you could think of, because that's where the ticks hide. So.
Great. Well, thank you. It was interesting to get a different perspective on these issues. We've talked to a lot of people who have suffered, but I know a lot of people also have pets and animals that have suffered as well. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything to help you guys.
All right, great.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Enjoy the rest of your day.